Hey guys, I visited the knitting and stitching show at Alexandra Palace earlier this week. I've got a short video of some of my favourite stands to share with you, but before that I wanted to show you what I purchased. I was relatively restrained. So first purchase was this lovely panel being sold by Grace at Beyond Measure. So that's the packaging. And here's the actual panel so you can see what it looks like in person. So the idea is that it's a printed panel and then it can be framed, it could be embroidered, you could incorporate it into a larger project. So for example, Grace had examples of a tote bag, potentially, I'm wondering if you could incorporate in a garment, maybe in a dress bodice. You can have a think about that. So that was the first purchase. Second one, so a stand called Black Bat, and I hadn't heard of this company before, but they're a specialist in British rare breed wool yarn. So I just bought a couple of small balls of wool from them just to try it out. So there's a small lace weight, I can't remember, so the composition of that, it's Hebridean and alpaca blend. 80% Hebridean, 20% alpaca. So it's gone a bit dark, so it might be difficult to see that. But I was just going to try that. It's really nice. It's got a little bit of lanolin left in the yarn. And then I bought this, which is absolutely gorgeous. So again, this is so let's find it. It's alpaca, 80% alpaca, 20% Shetland, this one. And they call it Licorice Twist because obviously they've plied a white yarn. Get that to focus. A white yarn with a black, it's a dark brown actually. So that's really nice. I think maybe you might manage a hat out of that, something like that. So that was the second purchase. And then the final purchase, I was trying to avoid buying any fabric because I have a massive stash which is just there, out shot happily. But I was having a look at the Sew Me Something stand and I got too tempted. So I bought this really lovely, I'll hold it up and show you, really lovely, and it's a linen viscose blend. And I'm already gonna know what I'm gonna make with this. I'm gonna make the Fold Lines First pattern, the Journey dress, which has just been released with Simply Sewn magazine. So it's on sale at the moment in the UK. So that's all my purchases. Not too bad, I thought. And now I'll show you some of my favourite stands and give you a little tour of the knitting and stitching show at Ali Pali. So this is Alexandra Palace. So it's my very first time visiting. It's set in Park Ground. You can get public transport there. I caught the bus, but it would be a nice walk on a sunny day. And so Alexandra Palace is Victorian period. It's 1870s, and it was actually built as a public exhibition space. So it was never a royal palace. It was intended to hold a theatre, exhibition halls, etc. All sorts of things over the years. So this is Wandering In. I was there on the Thursday, which is the late night, so it was pretty busy actually, especially early. So that's a quick shot of Spin City and Toft. And then this is the first company I wanted to mention, so Hand and Lock. They're a London-based embroidery house. They mainly work with royalty, couture, military, but anyone can commission embroidery from them. They're 250 years old next year, and they're currently sponsoring a medieval embroidery exhibition at the V&A, which is on till Feb. So next door to them was Beyond Measure, who I'm sure you'll be familiar with. They specialise in beautiful haberdashery items and in working with British independent makers in natural materials. So there's wooden pincushions that you can see there, leather goods, pincushions and scissor holders, and also beautiful wool tweed that Grace locates. So Lynn Ladden are new to me. They specialise in vintage threads from the Swedish flax industry. So from closed down flax producers, thread producers, and also generally in embroidery kits, books, and just had a really beautiful stand, really well displayed. So then the next few images are of the Quilt Exhibition. So these were all competition winners, and Quilt Exhibition was one of a number that were on display at Ali Pali. There was also Embroidery Guild exhibition, and then various independent artists and courses who were displaying work of students. So this is another stand where I purchased, so Black Bat. So they specialise in British and rare breed wool, and they had a huge selection of different sheep breeds. And then followed by Till the Sun Goes Down. So they have a range of vintage patterns, but also a large selection of vintage fabric. So some of it's vintage style fabric, including their own unique range, which is unique to them. And they also had some actual period vintage fabric. So this stand, so the reason I was at the Knitting and Stitching show was to volunteer on the stand of the Gilda Weaver Spin Styles, which I'm a member, and that was our stand for the day, with some natural dyeing on show. This now is Embroidery Guild, which I'm also a member of, and they had some lovely vintage pieces on their stand from their collections. This now is just a number of shots of some of their artwork on display by different textile artists. They had quite a large area with work on display. And this one, so a lot of the exhibition pieces, they'll only have a small number of pieces by an artist, or it'll be part of a larger group. But this artist, Anne Kelly, had quite a large stand with her work on display, and in the centre of it she had this really amazing wooden cabin which she had decorated inside and out with textile art and also paper art. So this is the outside of it now, so you can see some textile kind of stitching on the front, some decoupage down the side. So Sew Me Something, this is another shop where I purchased. So they are they design their own patterns, and they're fabric haberdashery and wool shop. They're a bricks and mortar shop in Stratford upon Avon. And this is my fabric being cut. And then near to them was the Draper's Daughter, who had a really beautiful little stand, lots of lovely haberdashery items, merchant and mills, etc. Obviously this is all available on their website too. And they also had a small section of really lovely fabric, so some Nanny Iro and some hand-woven iCat. And then last but not least, I'm sure you're already familiar with Girl Charlie, who had a really great colourful stand with lots of their lovely knit fabric.